What's going on, everybody? You're watching Straight Facts, Ritchie and Ciro. I'm still my boy,
Ritchie.
And we're back at it for 2 final episodes. So, Ritchie, a lot has happened since the last time that we covered any NBA or NFL news.
Definitely.
The Raptors became the champions, and Fun Guy got his MVP.
Boardman gets paid.
Giannis, he got the MVP for the year. We actually did very good on our predictions. I think the only one we got wrong was Rudy Gobert.
But Giannis got robbed.
He got so robbed. Like, it was ridiculous. So, with that, now we have our recap of the crazy stuff that has happened already, as we are only 3 days into July, and it's looking incredible for a lot of teams, and It's also looking a little downhill for a lot. So started off with the beginning of the
So we are way behind.
Insanity.
I think this was like June 17th or something.
Yeah,
that?
It was like right before. Yeah, it was like June 15th because it was right before the last day of school.
So it was the Pelicans trading Anthony Davis to the Lakers for Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks, and the number 4 overall pick in the 2019 draft.
Mm-hmm. Well, so this trade was very balanced in its own. Yes, the Lakers got rid of so much, but not only did this clear up cap space, and obviously the Wagner and Bonga trade had a lot to do with it, but for the Lakers, in the most part, those picks, the 4 pick was big, but that ended up getting traded as well.
Right.
So it wasn't like the Pelicans benefited from that. I mean, Josh Hart is going to be a very solid role player for them, and I think that that's a good move for them. And of course, who they sign later will help him for his 3-point development, and then as well as getting Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball is huge for them. Now with Drew Holiday being there as a very solid kind of I always saw him as a 1, not really a 2, but as he's developed, it's definitely looked good for the Pelicans.
Right.
So with Lonzo there now, I'd like to see him develop.
If Lonzo can stay healthy, he's a very good player. We see how great of a defender he is.
Very good defender.
He's come up in clutch moments. Remember, last year with the Spurs, he came up big.
Yeah.
And he's a very good rebounder.
Incredible
loves the
vision.
fast break.
Incredible
vision. That's
Beautiful
why LeBron
passing.
loves him so much. And Brandon Ingram has gotten
KD
better and better every
tendencies.
year.
He just is way too inefficient and
I think
inconsistent.
he's too scrawny.
Yeah, I mean, with KD uses, somehow
plus,
KD bangs.
And KD's probably, 4 or 5 inches taller than him, I would think, right?
What's he, 6'7", Brandon Ingram? Something around there?
They say Kevin Durant's 6'9", but...
He's 7
he's got to be
7
feet.
He's 7 feet. It's crazy.
That's...
you see him compared to any center, he's 7 feet. He always, says about, but he has,
his
wingspan is ridiculous. It's crazy. But, overall, I think, this was a very balanced trade, getting rid of a cancer in Anthony Davis in that locker room. And now Anthony Davis is happy, and we'll see what he can do. Richie and I expect big things from AD. Obviously, I'm a huge Anthony Davis guy. I was always behind him this year for a while. I was saying, best player in the league. That's one thing that I kept saying. And I do think that can hold up to him, because just for what he can do at his height and how he's able to manage, there's really no weakness about him except his attitude.
But he has ball handling skills too, because remember, before he grew, he was a guard.
He was a point guard. He was a point guard. He was a 6'1" point guard.
So he already has those guard skills.
Exactly.
And he's just something else. But heading over to the next trade now, the Grizzlies trading Mike Conley to the Jazz for Grayson Allen, Kyle Korver, Jay Crowder, the 23rd pick in the 2019 draft, and a future first-round pick. I think this was a really good trade for the Jazz. Obviously,
for both teams,
they
too.
have a really solid starting 5 now.
Yeah.
They have, Mike Conley at the 1, Donovan Mitchell at the 2.
Bojan.
At the 3 or 4 is Bojan Bogdanovic, Joe Ingles, and then of course you have the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert.
Whether we agree with that or not, hey,
there's no denying he's a
we
great
were talking
defender.
about this off camera too with Gobert. He was crying a lot, and I feel like this Jazz team has a lot of just kind of negative attitude players. But on paper, this kind of reminds me of that Timberwolves team when they got Jimmy Butler. I don't think that
it looks great on paper, doesn't it? But we don't know how great it's going to look.
However,
in the regular
already
season.
Snyder has done a good job developing a really good team for them,
Yep.
and seeing what they could do is definitely interesting, because we know what Mike Conley can do, and he's a very underrated player. Now, I hope, and I know a lot of people, I just hope he gets at least one All-Star before his career ends, because he puts up great numbers, he plays very good, and for his age, his speed still hasn't gone down. Yes, his dad was an Olympic, medalist runner, but with Conley, he's just so athletic too, but of course, the injuries have slowed him down for his career, and I think that having Mitchell Mitchell played the 1 too a lot, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of fit together, the same style.
And this is probably the best team Conley has ever been on.
Absolutely.
Offensively or
Hands down.
defensively.
Even though that like
really
2013 Grizzlies with Gay, Randolph, and Gasol was very good.
Mm-hmm. I think this team.
This team is very good. It's just
and younger.
The West Conference got very, very stacked and very scary.
And it could be even worse if Kawhi comes to LA with the Lakers. So.
You mean the Clippers? No, I'm kidding. Dude, it can happen too. That's why it's horrifying.
I know.
Fun guy.
Fun guy. But there was a trade that happened on draft night. Well, there was plenty of them, but one big one was T.J. Warren and the number 32 pick from the Suns being traded to the Pacers for cash considerations. I don't know what the Suns are doing.
Just when you thought the Suns couldn't get worse. Now, we talk about how the Suns have a solid team. They signed, I think, Jalen LeCue, too, after the draft, which looked good for them.
They signed Rubio and Frank the Tank. So, look out.
Frank Kaminsky, baby. There's just so much going on with this team. And one thing that we would always cover during our podcast was that they could get the ball rolling offensively, but defensively, they cannot stop nothing. They'll put up 120 and the other team will put up 140.
Devin Booker put up 70, but still lost by double digits.
By double digits. Crazy.
So, I mean, what's the point of scoring?
Exactly. So T.J. Warren is going to be a solid player. I think that
when he's healthy, he's a really solid player. And
now,
he just didn't get to play a lot last year either.
I think the worry, though, with Minnesota was, now what are they going to do with the 3 position? Because they're already hands full with Covington, Wiggins, and now, they have more to worry about. So I think that it was just kind of like, let's go for them. Mm-hmm. And they didn't really put too much consideration into the depth. Then again, it's the Timberwolves, so.
But let's head over to draft night and actually get over the picks. Now, we knew the number 1, 2, and 3, Zion Williamson going to the Pelicans, Ja Morant going to the Grizzlies, and R.J. Barrett going to the Knicks. And Knicks fans finally happy about a draft pick.
Finally.
So that'll be good.
Imagine if he ends up the worst. Like, the one time that they're happy. Because they are the most, they're brutal.
Because they expect so much, and they haven't gotten anything since, 1973?
Dude, you haven't had, you haven't had a number 1 pick since Ewing. So, they're crazy. Well, with these picks, who do you think is going to outshine the most? Honestly, I have Zion just killing it this year.
I have Ja Morant winning Rookie of the Year. Because I don't think he
Points-wise, he'll be there.
Points-wise,
but I think it's going to...
But I don't think he has any help. So I think he'll just have to take over. He does have some, decent players. He has some good three-point shooters. Crowder.
Yeah.
He has Kyle Korver.
Mm-hmm.
He does have Jonas Valanciunas, who is a pretty solid center. Of course.
Triple J.
Yep, Triple J. Jaren Jackson Jr. So I think he's just going to take over. He'll be dropping dimes. He'll be getting buckets, I think.
I see it 25. I see him as a Trae Young, but I think it's going to... I can literally see him kind of being like Trae Young, taking a while to get the ball rolling. But I just think...
But we saw it last year. Once Trae Young got the ball rolling, it kept rolling. It didn't stop.
The fact, I could talk for hours about Trae Young. I'm just going to keep it simple. Trae Young really just proved that the first 30 games don't always affect how you're going to finish the season.
Because from January on, he might have won
especially the month
of
of February.
Yep.
Averaging 30 points per game and 13 assists, which is incredible. So, but my big thing with Zion is just, this man is incredible. And
there's never been so much hype around a draft pick since
LeBron.
LeBron, right?
I wouldn't even, you could say John Wall, just because, his mixtapes and his college performances really got him hyped up.
John Wall has the best high school mixtape.
Literally, I remember watching that, when I was so young, that mixtape was incredible. But Zion, there's just something about him, because I remember, if you go back to the other episodes, I wasn't always behind him, but once I got on that Zion train, I believe in him. Now, he could end up being a 13-5, but I'm expecting 23 and 13 from him. I'm expecting big things from him, and as well, he might not have the biggest stat sheet,
right?
But his efficiency is going to be good. This is when they're going to start having to look at their win shares and all of that, because I think that this is going to be a very, very good draft. I was talking with a teacher at our school about the draft class, and he said that it was awful. I went ahead and named the first 30.
Because we're going to be talking about these 4 through 10 picks and then some other sleepers.
And there's some very good players in this draft. This is an amazing draft class.
It's not just Williamson, Morant, and Barrett.
No, it's so much more than that. Last year there was maybe 7 presumable picks. Year before, there's still a couple guys developing, but this year, I'm expecting a big bang from it.
And for the number 4 pick, the Lakers drafted DeAndre Hunter, but that pick went to the Hawks. Of course, he was the NCAA champion, hit that big shot to close things out for Virginia. Shot 43% from behind the three-point line. So how do you feel about the Hawks picking him up?
So I think with this move, it's a very solid move. Of course, we got rid of a 3-and-D player in Taurean Prince, and we even get another big one. Of course,
you hated Taurean Prince. So
I try not to show any hatred in that statement, but Taurean Prince was somebody that I liked 3 years ago when he was coming out of college and he was looking young. He just never developed for us. Watch him develop into something great. Hey, who cares? But the thing that I'm happy about is we got that freaking Kent Bazemore contract out of there.
That was awesome.
I do think
that was a
great
trade for the Hawks.
We got Evan Turner back.
He's
a very solid player. Now, that contract might not be great, but hey, we got Kent Bazemore's contract out, and I hope for the best for Kent Bazemore because I used to love Kent Bazemore. It's just this year, he's taken up valuable minutes of my man, Kevin Huerter. He just was taking up way too many minutes to put up 4 points.
Maybe most improved player of the year. We don't know.
Maybe. But with this move, I do like it. I think that trading down to it, only giving up the 8th pick, which was Jackson Hayes.
No, 8th and 17th too.
Yeah. But
still,
I was talking about out of our lottery because I would have been mad if we traded that 10th because I mean that's a lot of value because we keeping it young.
But whatever.
You sound stupid. But anyway, DeAndre Hunter, I like it. I think that it was a very just easily respected move. I think that he's going to be very solid for us.
I agree. And heading over to the number 5 pick, Darius Garland out of Vanderbilt got drafted to the Cavaliers. He only played 5 games before he tore his meniscus. During that time, he shot the ball very well from the field. And going back to his high school numbers, averaging 26, 5, and 4, and he was a 4-time state champ. And the Cavaliers must have saw something in him.
How do you take him over Kobe White? I do like Garland a lot. The Vanderbilt, I mean, he stood out there all season, really. His name was out there once the NCAA season ended. His name started skyrocketing to the top of the lottery.
He only played 5 games.
Yeah, I know. It was almost kind of how he got that much.
They must have seen something in him.
But it was every team, really, that was looking for a point guard.
For the Cavs, too.
He was said to be the 2nd or 3rd best point guard. I mean, I had Kobe White over him. I would have taken Kobe White, definitely. Put Sexton and White together, that would have looked great. 2 very good passers and definitely good shooters.
It's a fast backcourt.
Really fast team. But, I mean, I'm not mad at Garland. I'm not saying he's going to be a bust. I'm just saying, I was expecting, I was watching, the Jay Bilas picks. I was like, yeah, definitely expect Kobe White. Next thing you know, Darius Garland.
He went down like Nasir Little went down.
Yeah, really.
He was on the draft board.
At least Little got... We'll talk about that in a while, but with Garland, it was just unexpected in my opinion. And a top 5 pick for him, that's huge for him. That's really big.
And for the number 6 pick, it was Jarek Culver. The Suns drafting him, but the pick goes to the Timberwolves. Obviously, his draft stock went up towards the end of the season. He averaged 18.5 points per game on 52% shooting from behind the arc.
Well, Culver was a standout for the Hawks for a while. That was who we were expecting to maybe trade up for, maybe the 6th pick or the 7th, something like that, where we could snag him.
Right.
But for a while, he was very high up there, looking like a 4th or 5th pick. And, of course, now going to Minnesota, this is just kind of another one of that confusing. What are they going to do with their 2s and 3s?
Well, they're probably going to trade Andrew Wiggins.
Covington.
They've been talking about it for a while.
Because
they
Covington,
traded Sarge.
Yeah, I know, that's true. But Sarge wasn't even a liability, really. He was just a little inconsistent. But you can fix that with playing time, really.
Right.
But with Wiggins, you can't fix that mentality. And maybe he goes to a team like the Pistons where he could fit in as their only 3 and just stand out there and play
another
well.
Question is, who wants his contract?
Yeah, exactly. It's already a bad contract. You have a really bad morale on him, and his attitude is awful, and his playmaking has definitely decreased as his potential has supposedly gone up. He just hasn't. It's kind of the biggest bust in player efficiency because he's been expected to be so good.
But he's not a bad player. He's just not what he lived up to be because he still averages
number
17, 18 points per game.
That was a collegiate standout in high school. In high school, if you read Slam or anything, this guy was all over that.
His high school
he was
cool.
Insane. He was at him and Jabari Parker. I remember they were on it. They were just the next big things, and both of those guys. Of course, Parker faced injuries. Wiggins is just I don't know because he's solid player, but those things
he
that I just
doesn't show
mentioned.
up every night.
he doesn't show up, and when he does, he doesn't match what he could be doing because he's so gifted, but he's not showing that.
Heading over to the next pick, and this is the one Ciro liked. The Bulls drafting Kobe White, who in his only season with North Carolina averaged 16 points per game. Only shot 42% from the field, though.
Yeah, well, Kobe White, I think that this is a solid pickup for that team. A very young team. A team that has a lot of talent around it. And, of course, their big man trouble with signing, Thad Young, that kind of confused how we're going to, literally, well, you have Lowry, but that's okay. And with Kobe, he has some good shooters and definitely the perimeter around him with Levine.
And he's going to be great on the fast break, too.
And starting over Dunn, putting Dunn on the bench is really good for them, too.
You think Dunn's going on the bench?
Yeah, I can't see him fitting into it just because Levine's too small to run the 3, and Dunn is way too small to run the 2.
I think Dunn is a solid player.
He's very solid, definitely. He definitely developed into something that I expected because I didn't expect him. When he went to the Timberwolves, I didn't think that he was going to be a big guy. I just knew that he would come into a solid role player in the NBA, especially out of Rhode Island. He was really solid too.
And I originally wanted him to be drafted by the Celtics. Instead, we got Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, but hey,
I think I'd rather have Jaylen Brown right now.
Yeah, definitely. Brown might not be fully developed, but I could see him developing into solid.
Right.
Definitely.
Heading over to the 8th pick now, the Hawks drafted Jackson Hayes, but that pick went to the Pelicans. The center out of Texas averaged 10 points per game on 72% shooting from the field, averaging just over 2 blocks per game.
Now, this is a solid pickup for them just because of for a while, I could say, they kind of had a lack of depth on the center position, really. And, that's what was kind of, blending to fit in that.
Yeah, the Pelicans definitely need that.
Yeah, I like that a lot, too. And, of course, losing Randall is big for them because they couldn't flip Zion or Randall to play the 5. So now you get a natural big that can play the 5 for them and not worry about small ball too much. Because it would have been an awful small ball lineup if they
Zion
kept
is
Randall.
Really undersized, too. He's only,
He's 6'7". 6'7",
yeah,
6'7", 6'8", 285, and then Randall is, 6'9", 6'10".
And the Pelicans have lost 3, big men or 4s or 5s in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
They lost Julius Randle, DeMarcus Cousins, and Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
You still have Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah.
And they like the potential they've seen out of him, so we'll see if that works out.
And when AD did go out and that awful, thing that he did in the mid-season, Jahlil Okafor looked incredible. He was a fantasy killer.
He stepped up big time.
He was a fantasy killer for sure. He was a sleeper. But I do just overall, I do definitely like Jackson Hayes being picked up. I think that it's a solid pickup. I don't think it's anything too special, but I think that he could be a solid player for them.
And for the number 9 pick, the Wizards drafted Rui Hachimura out of Gonzaga, who averaged 19.7 points per game this season, 6.5 rebounds.
Hey man,
and this was another guy I wanted the Celtics to draft. Unfortunately, we didn't, but I just like his game. He's lengthy, he's 6'8", he's 240. He can get buckets in the paint. I like him. I thought he was a solid player.
I think that he's a solid player. I mean, I knew he wasn't going to fall there. I said either 9 or 10. And, hey, you pronounce his name right, too. Some guys are botching that. Hachimura.
I didn't know if Rui was right.
I think it's Rui Hachimura.
Rui Hachimura.
But overall, this does work for the Wizards because even though they took, Admiral, too, they definitely needed a 3. And, I mean, he could run the 4, too, now that they have Bobby Portis. So, I mean, you could see a lineup with IT, Bradley Beal, Schofield, and then you could see, Jabari at the 3, and then...
Well, if they re-sign him, we don't know.
Yeah,
He's still a free
Brian
agent
at the 5, and then Rui at the 4. That'd be a pretty solid lineup.
And for the number 10 pick, the Hawks drafted your boy Cam
Don't
Reddish.
call him a bum before I get mad.
I said your boy.
Yeah, I know, but you're...
13.5 points per game on 35%.
Do I have to explain them in?
Can you explain it to me?
Alright, I'm not going to take too long with Cam Reddish, but we're going to dive into this, right? So Cam Reddish was a top 3 prospect in the world, in the country, I should say, in high school, alright? He went to Duke, and who else came with him? The other 2 of the top 3. So obviously, somebody that wasn't able to be around all-stars like that, those guys ended up outshining him. Of course, RJ was going to outshine him because RJ played around incredible players his whole life, especially where he went to school.
Montverde Academy.
Like that. Montverde teaches
Precious,
you.
Right?
Yeah, Precious Achimwa. He's solid. He's going to be doing pretty good soon. Give him a couple years, you see him in the NBA. But
where did he go, to Memphis?
Yeah. And with Reddish, though, it took him a while. All right. He wasn't used to that algorithm of not being the best on the court. Now just wait. His 3-point looked awful. I will give you that. And I told you, Cam Reddish was my favorite high school player.
But with 3-point, 33% isn't terrible. I mean, it's not like...
Especially college. You take a lot.
Yeah.
Especially on Duke.
But a lot of prospects like them because, he's lengthy. He's supposed to be a 3-point shooter. We'll see if he can improve in the NBA.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this because what I was saying was coming into, NCAA this year, Cam Reddish was my favorite player, and I talked about how his lack of defense was really a mishap, that definitely needed to be fixed. But overall, this fits for us now because if you look at our lineup, Trae Young, Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and hopefully, imagine if we could just get Boogie just to say his name because that lineup on paper looks great. But I do like this move a lot, and of course, it's the 10th pick. At that point, we didn't have any other first rounders, so why not go big or go home? We already kind of solidified a nice pick in Hunter, so I do like that.
Let's head over to the Celtics picks now, and starting off with the number 14 pick, it was Romeo Langford out of Indiana. Now, he's a terrible 3-point shooter, and that was the first thing I thought about. 27% from 3, but he's more of a slashing shooting guard.
How does Ainge do that? He loves his 3-point shooters.
We needed a big man. We needed to draft a big man.
You needed Rui.
But we needed like a center, like a 6'11", 7-foot or something like that, because we didn't have any centers. But I guess we got some big men in free agency, so that helped.
Yeah, that's true.
We picked up Taco Fall. I'm not even mad at that because if Taco Fall plays...
It's only a 10-day, right?
No, it's Exhibit 10.
Oh, okay.
Exhibit 10 contract, but if he can just average, if he plays 10 or 15 minutes a game, gives me 10, 12 points, 7, 8 rebounds, a block
even
here and
5
there.
and 13.
I'm not mad about that, honestly, because I know he's not going to be. I know he's not going to be amazing or anything because he's not very mobile. But I'm not mad at that signing, so I'll take it. And then for the number 22 pick, we got Grant Williams, who averaged 18.8 points per game last season, shot 56% from the field, averaged 7.5 rebounds. That was probably my favorite draft pick.
You guys were in love with that pick.
That was my favorite draft
Ainge was very happy about that.
And he's been saying all the right things, too, about Boston and playing with, not Kyrie, the other kid.
Kyrie.
Kemba. And then for, what do we get? The number 33 pick in Carson Edwards, who had that great NCAA time.
That's
we
a
talked
solid
about
pickup,
it, with March Madness. And, he averaged 24 points per game. His field goal percentage wasn't great. Did shoot 35% from behind the arc. So I was really happy about that pickup. And then we signed Tremont Waters, who was really undersized. Guard out of LSU, only 5'11", but he averaged 15, 5, and nearly 3 steals per game last year.
He's a solid player. I do like. I remember watching him at Hoop Hall a couple years ago. He was he can shoot. He can definitely shoot. He'll fit good for you guys.
And some other things to talk about in the draft. We saw the Nuggets traded for the draft rights to Bol Bol. Before he fractured his foot with Oregon, he was playing fantastic. 21 points, 9 rebounds, and nearly 3 blocks per game.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big Bol Bol guy. All right, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I don't think I think he's a great player. I do think that he has potential, but people were comparing. What was it? 3 games?
What?
3 games he played?
9.
I don't know. I don't think that's enough to determine what he can do. I'm not saying he can't be. I think that he can be very solid. I just for you to say.
A lot of the teams that were working him out, they said they didn't know about his effort, his work ethic. They weren't sure.
He's an injury-prone 7-footer. You know how unhealthy that is?
Don't hate on my man.
He is an injury-prone 7-footer.
I don't like him going to the Nuggets. I feel like that's not going to fit.
He's not going to be able to live up to Jokic.
The Heat should have just kept him. Because the Heat originally drafted
that would have been very solid. If he backed up Bam,
I would like that.
I could see him being very solid if he stayed in Miami. But what I'm saying is people that say Bol Rookie of the Year, they need to shut up.
No, he's not going to be Rookie of the Year, but I think he's going to be
maybe a Mitchell Robinson type player, all rookie second team, out of nowhere.
And what about some other draft picks you want to talk about?
The big draft picks, in my opinion, that were stolen was, of course, Portland taking Nasir Little. I think that this is an incredible pickup for them. Of course, it fits the gap of that 3-4 position that they really needed to fill up. And now they have Dame, Lillard, and of course Little.
Because they lost Harkless and Aminu.
Yep. Aminu leaving
Orlando.
Yeah, he's going to Orlando. But Aminu leaving is huge for them. But Nasir Little, coming out of UNC, he definitely really had a lot of untouched talent where he was expected to go top 10, dude.
Yeah, because Jay Bilas was talking about it with the draft board. They thought he was going to be drafted top 15 or something.
Yeah, definitely.
All the way down.
Even the Wizards,
late in the first round.
That was bad. So, but I do like him a lot, and I think that he's going to fit good in Portland, and we'll see a lot from Portland this year. And then my other big steal is the Spurs adding more young guard depth to that team, grabbing Keldon Johnson. Because now they have Johnson, Walker, Dejounte Murray, and Derrick White. Mm-hmm. Now that is a solid backup rendition for point guard and shoot guard. Walker looks great.
They got a great young team because they don't really have, they don't have high draft picks.
I love Lonnie. I mean, I was happy to see him play. I was happy to see him play. I mean, we saw some incredible athleticism from him in the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Late in the first round, and I do like. I just love thinking about this. Johnson and White, and then Murray and Lonnie Walker.
That's an athletic team.
And Murray's defense is untouchable. So. I think that he's definitely one of the best defensive point guards in the league. So already that team looks very solid. And of course, if DeRozan doesn't get hurt, man.
Marcus Aldridge.
Honestly, it's at the point where they need to do something like this, right? So they have Gay running the 4 and Aldridge running the 5. Mm-hmm. They need to flip Gay for a center. Flip Gay maybe in a pick for a center so they can not only because
they just signed him to a 2-year deal.
Yeah, he's too small to be playing the 4 efficiently with Aldridge because small ball is not always like positionless basketball is really popular nowadays, but like you get put against a team that's got 7-footers, 6'11", and then of course a 6'5" point guard, pretty much the Thunder, really. Then it's just not going to look good on matchups. So I would definitely try to flip Gay just to add better depth to the team. Right. But I do really like what the Spurs did signing Johnson, or drafting Johnson.
And now that we're all caught up with the NBA draft, let's head over to all the awards from the 2018-2019 season. And of course, we'll start off with the Rookie of the Year. And Luka Doncic. Now, we already talked about it, that if it was from February to the end of the year, we think Trae Young would have won it, but Luka Doncic still had him, he beat him in most of the categories.
Because of how Luka, not only was Luka scoring 3, but Luka was also, he started off very good. Trae Young wasn't even in consideration of being a top 15 point guard.
Yeah.
The first 30 games.
They were calling him a bust.
People were hating him.
Before he even played a game.
You gotta believe, all right. Trust the process. I was believing in Trae. I was like, yo, shut up. Once we get John Collins back, we'll be set. 30 games. John Collins is up 30 games, bro.
And he was setting up John Collins with those alley-oops.
John Collins came back and Trae Young's assist went up. His field goal went up. That is one of the most underrated duos in the league. Collins and Trae Young.
Nasty. No one talks about John Collins.
Literally, Collins is, in my opinion, probably the most underrated. At least top 3 underrated players. Right. Because you never hear somebody be like, oh yeah, John Collins this, unless it's me. Unless it's me or Richie hyping up John Collins. Nobody talks about him. But, yeah, there's not much you can really do about it. Luka definitely deserved it.
Definitely. And now Lou Williams winning 6th Man of the Year for the 3rd time in his career. Now he's tied with Jamal Crawford with the most of those awards.
And he's not old too. He could do it again for sure.
Oh, definitely.
And he's just solidified that spot.
He just doesn't age.
Imagine having 2 6-men on your team though.
That's crazy because Harold's gonna win next year.
Yeah, definitely.
You're my man Harold next year. And
I like Harold.
For Most Improved Player of the Year, it wasn't really much of a surprise. It was kind of a runaway with Spicy P, as they call him, Pascal Siakam, and every number just went up. Points, steals, blocks, rebounds, assists. His 3-point percentage skyrocketed as well, and there's just really no debate.
He's got a champ too.
NBA champ too.
If you know me, I'm a huge Siakam guy, and I loved seeing, because coming into the season, I was like, just watch. Siakam's going to do his thing. And I wasn't expecting Kawhi to do the stay home and watch TV syndrome. I didn't expect that to pop in. But when it did, Siakam put up career highs. He put up season highs.
Van Vliet stepped up too.
Him and Van Vliet, 33 against the Hawks for Van Vliet and 35 for Siakam.
They both had 30-point games.
Yeah, they did. It was very, very good season for Siakam, and I'm happy that somebody like that won. People were saying D'Lo. That stuff just kind of made me mad.
I don't think so.
D'Lo is not alright. D'Angelo Russell was the 2nd pick, right? The 2nd pick. He's just now playing he's playing how he should be. It's not like the Most Improved player does of course there's some situations where the first pick goes awful and then 5 years later he plays great. Alright, yeah, that's Most Improved. But Most Improved is more of how you're supposed to be, it's not made for all-stars. Because if it was, then Giannis would have won it. If that's how it is.
Giannis has already won it too.
Exactly. Yeah, he won it 2 years ago. But come on. It does not make sense for an all-star that should be an all-star to be it. Right. Siakam was the 27th pick, all right? The 27th pick, and he came out there. He had, I think 7 points and, 6 rebounds last year.
And now he's averaging, what?
17 and 8.
Yeah, 17 and 8.
Yeah, 16.7 or something, 17 and 8. And that's just, in my opinion, almost like a unanimous most improved player.
There was no question he was going to win. It wasn't even close.
People were trying to, make the argument. I was like, dude, Siakam is winning this.
Yeah, he's got to win that. So for Coach of the Year, we got Mike Budenholzer, and obviously he did a fantastic job with the Bucks. Not many household names.
Did it with the Hawks, now with the Bucks.
He's an amazing coach.
Very good.
60 wins, led the Bucks to the best record in the Eastern Conference, brought them deep in the playoffs. Unfortunately, they weren't able to win it all, but he did a fantastic job throughout the regular season. He had great depth with his bench. Giannis was fantastic this season. Brogdon, when he was healthy, was playing well. Middleton was shooting lights out. Brook Lopez has become a great three-point shooter as well.
Yeah, and of course, we'll talk about Brook Lopez's contract, but the Bucks overall looked very solid this year, and it was all thanks to Budenholzer. So I got into an argument on Instagram, right? Mm-hmm. And somebody commented, why didn't Doc Rivers get Coach of the Year? And I said, because he wasn't even close to the 1 seed. Budenholzer did a great job, and he led the Bucks.
And there was other guys that were ahead of him. Mike Malone, you could put there. Nate McMillan.
Yeah, definitely McMillan for what he did without Oladipo. But
and
then
Malone too.
But some random came in and commented, "You mean Giannis?" And he tried clowning me. No, I don't mean Giannis. Giannis wasn't the only reason why the Bucks were good. You sound stupid if you think so.
You can't just have one player.
When Giannis is on the bench, the Bucks look incredible as well because DJ Wilson started playing very solid throughout the season. Mirotic was playing very good.
Other than the last playoffs.
Yeah.
So other than the last round of the playoffs, Cam's going to get mad.
He's going to be mad.
We're done. We don't talk
about it. No Bucks. Yeah, but really, I think that it was definitely evidential that Budenholzer deserved.
And now heading over to Defensive Player of the Year, me and Ciro didn't feel like Rudy Gobert should have won it. Now, he was fantastic on the defensive end this year, but this is the second time he's won it in a row. Second year he's won it in a row. But I think Giannis should have won it because he was at the top of the league in steals and blocks. Among power forwards.
Defensive rebounds.
And he led the NBA in defensive win shares. What more
ridiculous.
do we need? I don't understand it.
Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert.
That's great.
Rudy Gobert.
If he didn't get it, he was gonna cry. So I had to give it to him.
Literally, we already talked about this, but Rudy I don't know. Some people love Rudy Gobert. I don't hate him. I just think he did not deserve that.
I just don't think he should have won it. Giannis should have won it, but he did win the MVP because he did it on both ends of the floor. Many people were rooting for Harden because he averaged 36 points per game, and he shot the ball. I think it was 44% from the field, but he took 1,000 shots.
Literally,
took 1,000 free throws. But Giannis was able to do it on both ends of the floor. Average a double-double. I think it was 27 and 12.
27 and 12.
4 or 5 assists,
5.9.
a block or steal here and there.
Yeah.
He improved on the three-point percentage. His mid-range continues to get better. He's a beast in the paint still. So I think he was definitely deserving of this award.
This is a small forward, power forward, literally putting up Shaq numbers with 6 assists. This was Shaq's stat sheet in 1997.
Imagine if he can actually get a better mid, because he's improved on the mid range.
He's talked about this.
On something every year.
My hot take that I truly mean is that if Giannis gets a shot by this summer, he's going to be the best player of all time.
It's going to be scary. If he can get a consistent.
Imagine if he won this year, dude. If they won the finals, because he's young and it doesn't matter yet. It will eventually, but the path that he's taken is something else. And I love talking about Giannis just because he's been through so much, and now how he's playing is incredible. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that it was obvious that he was MVP.
Definitely.
People tried making the arguments, it's only because of his playoff success. Regardless, you can still look at the regular season. They were the 1 seed, and it was
And everybody acted like he played terrible in the playoffs.
He played terrible.
Yeah. We
won't say who did play terrible, so Cam doesn't get mad.
Right. They found a way to defend him. His numbers weren't as good.
No.
But he still had a pretty solid playoff.
When Kawhi is clamping you up,
it's kind of difficult. All right, let's head over because we finally got to get to the free agency here. This is
big.
This should be a national holiday.
Yeah.
It really should be.
We could just zoom by this.
June 30th should be a national holiday.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
No, literally, make it a national
holiday. It really is, next year.
Come on.
But starting off with the Mavericks, they signed Kristaps Porzingis to a 5-year, $158 million deal. He hasn't played since February 6th of 2018, so he hasn't played in
and it kind of
over
has
a year.
Rape allegations.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah,
no, she was just trying to get money, but we'll see how that goes with Porzingis and Luka Doncic.
That'd be great. I'd like to see that.
They don't really have much around them though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I mean, and DeAndre's gone.
Yeah, DeAndre Jordan's gone. And we thought they were gonna get. At first, they said Goran Dragic was going to go to the Mavericks in that 14 deal.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
But that didn't happen, and instead they got, I think, Derrick Jones Jr., who's a high flyer. I love Derrick Jones.
Yeah, no, his dunks were insane, dude.
And they got Kelly Olynyk. So, okay. All right. I don't think Ciro's too happy about that, but whatever. We got the Pelicans. They just continue to make a splash this offseason as they signed J.J. Redick to a 2-year, $26 million deal. And he was fantastic last year, averaging just over 18 points per game on 39% shooting from behind the arc.
And Redick is living up to kind of like the older NBA player. You get older, your three-point shot gets better. And first Vince Carter executed it, but J.J. Redick has always been a three-point shooter. Imagine him at his his oldest age, yet playing his best basketball, in my opinion.
It's impressive.
Except, in Duke, he was playing very good, of course. Mm-hmm. He was one of the best in the nation.
But in the NBA.
In the NBA, last year was his best season. Now, going to the Pelicans, like I mentioned, Josh Hart now.
Right, Josh Hart. They have,
what are they going to do?
They have 3 shooting guards coming off the bench.
Yeah, because they'll have Holiday starting.
They'll have Darius Miller coming off the bench, Etuan Moore, and now Josh Hart. You would think J.J. Redick will be in the starting lineup, yeah.
But then what happens? Because it would be Lonzo.
That's gonna be weird, right?
Would you do Holiday Redick? Because Holiday.
Lonzo
can run the 5.
Lonzo
can run the 5.
Lonzo at the 1, Holiday at the 2, and then you gotta put
Ingram at the 3, and then Zion at the 4.
Zion at the 4, and then you got Jackson Hayes at the 5. So. Yeah. And they also got who they got? They got Derek Favors in the trade too, so he can come off.
That's actually a really good trade.
Yeah, he's like a good. I don't know, 11-6, 11-7 guy.
I mean, he was way better.
Doesn't put up crazy numbers, but...
No, but he's a soft player.
Yeah, he's efficient.
He's good.
So another signing, it's not Kyrie Irving, but it's Kemba Walker. Let's go. I'm so hyped. 4 years, $141 million deal with the Celtics. He made his first All-NBA team last year, and I love it. Kemba's been my guy since UConn. I love this pickup.
I can't lie either. Kemba was my favorite player for a while. I like Kemba a lot, and I'm excited to see what he can do.
And he has no ego. He has a great attitude.
Literally, you'll never, I don't care.
Always
if you hate on Kemba, you're dumb.
Yeah.
You can't hate Kemba. He doesn't say anything except, I might resign with the Hornets. That's the only bad thing he's ever said. I don't know. I think that this is awesome for you guys. And, of course, kind of need help. The big men kind of need some help down there. But
yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But the Magic signing Nikola Vucevic to a 4-year, $100 million deal. And me and Ciro were talking about him. He could be potentially MVP candidate. I don't know. Probably not. But still, averaged 20 and 12 last year. He made his first All-Star team last year. And he's just a solid player that just doesn't get talked about enough.
Kind of wanted him in Atlanta, but that's okay.
Right, and the Kings needed a center too, but they ended up getting...
The Celtics wanted Vucevic too, right?
I would have taken him too, but now we lost Al Horford.
Yeah, it's cancer.
Oh, man. And for the Bucks, they signed Chris Middleton to a huge deal. 5 years,
that was ridiculous.
$178 million. Now, Chris Middleton, he had a great year last year.
Chris Middleton.
Averaged 18 points, made his first All-Star team. But I just don't think he's worth that much money.
He could be, but right now, absolutely
not at this moment.
I think he could be by his 3rd year on that deal.
Maybe 5 years, $100 million or something like that.
But with the players they've lost, that was too much of a risk. I would sign him to a 3-year deal, if anything. 5 years is
I don't the years isn't bad. I just think it's.
Well, I think it's bad just because in 3 years there'll be some big free agents. So we already know who they've lost this year. Who's to say they won't lose anybody next year? Of course, Bledsoe has that really big
4 years,
extension, 72, yeah. So, but I just thought that it's kind of a lengthy contract for somebody that will eventually, I think, be in there because he's very solid. I like Chris Middleton a lot.
Yeah.
But, that's really all I got to say about that.
And heading over to the next free agent signing here, Harrison Barnes going back to the Kings on a 4-year, $88 million deal.
That's really a solid move for the Kings. I think that Barnes didn't really fit in too much with them, but I do think he will, and it's pretty solid.
Because you got De'Aaron Fox passing the ball, Buddy Hield has been getting buckets. It's just going to be those.
We love Buddy
guys.
Hield. He's so good. He's very.
And he was in the running for most improved player.
Yeah, it just I think what it got to was just the standings really.
Because what are they 10th?
They were the 10th, yeah. So really, like, there's not too much about it, but I do think that this is a good move for them to keep him because they traded him for nothing. They got Justin Jackson. That's who the Mavs got back.
They traded for Justin Jackson and it was somebody else. I forget who it was. It was someone that bum, right?
I think it was just Justin Jackson and a pick. Maybe it was somebody. Maybe it was somebody.
But heading over to the next one now, Derrick Rose signing a 2-year, $15 million deal with the Pistons. I just didn't expect this. I didn't think he was going to go to Detroit. I thought he was going to stay with Minnesota.
Bye Reggie, I guess. Like,
I'd rather have Derrick Rose starting too. Reggie Jackson has turned into a bum ever since he started.
Yeah, that's true. He's not. I'm not a big Reggie guy. I'm just. I don't know. I do think though that Rose could be solid. Rose is one of my favorite players of all time. Probably my favorite current player of all time besides KD.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm happy that he went there. I think that that's a steal because they got him for darn near nothing. And of course, bringing him on that team with some.
And we saw he played well last year. And he only played, 51 games, but he averaged 18 points.
And when he started, he played very good.
Yep, and then of course he had,
50-point game on Halloween.
50-point night, so that was really, it was great to see him, dealing with all the injuries he has gone through, and now he's able to come back like that, and hopefully he can continue to play well with the Pistons. But heading over to the Suns, and another head scratcher right here. 3 years, $51 million deal for Ricky Rubio. And they were saying he was going to go to the Pacers, but instead he goes to Phoenix, and I don't know. The Suns don't make any sense.
They're so bad.
I just don't understand it. But now with the guy who actually signed with the Pacers, Jeremy Lamb, 3 years, $31.5 million deal, and he was solid last year, averaging 15 points and 5.5 rebounds per game, and one of the more consistent players on the Hornets that helped Kemba Walker here and there.
I mean, his highlight was an accidental half-court game winner, but
it's all good against the Raptors.
Yeah, I know. That was crazy. No, but I think that Lamb was very, kind of untouched back at the Rockets and the Thunder, but he just never developed.
Right.
He's just, been the same. I'm not saying he's bad.
Mm-hmm. No, he's nice.
No, he's good. He's a good scorer, and he has a really nice three-pointer, but if I'm being real with you, I do think, this could be a good move for them. Of course, adding depth to their newly signed Malcolm Brogdon, but, of course, Oladipo, too, but when Oladipo comes back, is Brogdon running the one now? Because he was a point guard. When he won Rookie of the Year,
and then
Lamb
could come off the bench.
Yeah, Lamb off the bench, and then Oladipo playing too. But of course, no Bojan, so it gets tough.
Warren.
Yeah, that's true.
So Miles Turner, then you could start Domantas Sabonis.
And there's no Thad though. But then Sabonis finally gets the time that
he should be starting anyway.
Regardless, but we talked about how they kind of make it so he's pretty much starting.
But he's solid off the bench.
He's very good. He fits the bench definitely.
And heading over to another big Supermax extension with the Blazers, your boy Damian Lillard, 4 years, $194 million. How do you feel about this?
Well, people are trying to say he doesn't deserve it. They need to worry about contending. They sound stupid. It seems like they didn't really look at the Blazers. The Blazers went far without Jusuf Nurkic. Not him not playing good. The man broke his leg practically.
Yeah, he didn't play.
He didn't play.
He didn't play in the playoffs at all.
And Nurkic was somebody, because you liked Nurkic a lot, at first. It kind of took me a while to get behind him. I was kind of somebody that was saying, I don't know, I can't really, consider him, a top 5 center. But as the season got longer, he was putting up, 16 and 10?
Yeah, he was a solid player.
He was very good for them.
Here and there as well.
He was just somebody who was needed to be on that court. And, of course, Damian Lillard is an incredible player. Regardless of the success of the Blazers, if anyone deserves it on that team, it's him. If anybody deserves it, I think it's him. Just because the humble, man that he is, he literally, said in an interview, and Dame doesn't lie, he said that, I ain't going nowhere.
Right.
He said, I ain't going nowhere.
They love him there.
And he loves it there, as well. So it's definitely a win-win for Portland. I do love watching Portland, too, just because, since I like Dame so much.
And that's one of the best backcourts in the league anyway.
Absolutely.
Him and McCollum. So.
And to see what McCollum has gotten to be, it's definitely, really big for them.
And a couple of the signings we already talked about, it was Bojan Bogdanovic signing a 4-year, $73 million deal with the Jazz. And, of course, Malcolm Brogdon signing a 4-year, $85 million deal with the Pacers. And these were both really good signings for these two teams.
We already covered it, but, really, the only thing I could add is just, It was unexpected. I didn't think Brogdon was leaving.
Yeah, me neither.
I wouldn't have left if I was Brogdon.
But now Indiana has a pretty good team. If Oladipo, we talked about.
Yeah, December, right?
Maybe December or January. So that might be. I mean, it's going to be a little.
If it's
late.
December, January, like Brogdon will probably. I mean, I think he's staying point guard no matter what. Because, like I said, he won Rookie of the Year as a point guard. He was a point guard.
He's going to be at the 1, and then Oladipo moved to the 2. Maybe Lamb will go on the bench.
Yeah.
So, I think the Pacers, they're going to make the playoffs. It's going to be a little difficult for them, but once Oladipo comes back,
yeah, I think it'll be a solid. I mean, like, McMillan just does a great job coaching overall.
Definitely, because he did a great job without Victor Oladipo all last year.
We were saying that he was a definite Coach of the Year
top 3
candidate because, like, just of how efficient they played without Oladipo, and it was definitely just signs of great coaching.
Right. Let's head over to some New York teams. We'll start off with the Nets, though, Ciro. And thank God Kyrie Irving is gone. 4 years, $141 million deal. Kevin Durant signed a 4-year, $164 million deal. And then DeAndre Jordan signed a 4-year, $40 million contract. The Nets are going to be scary. But everyone's like, they're saying the Nets are going to go to the finals. This is
literally the worst. Like, dude, no, they're not going to the finals.
No, but they're saying, like, their odds have shot up to go to the finals for this season. But everyone's forgetting that Kevin Durant
is not playing.
Is most likely going to miss
the entire
season.
He's missing the entire season.
Even if they make the playoffs, I don't think he's going to make it.
No, yeah, he's not playing that.
And the Nets are going to be better. I just don't think they're going to make the finals.
No.
And there's a lot better Eastern Conference teams too.
Don't sleep on my boy LeVert either, because he's nice. Gonna kill. He's gonna.
They have like a really solid core.
They have Joe Harris. They literally kept the same team and then added two superstars and an all-star.
Yeah.
Or a solid player.
Yeah, I mean
DeAndre Jordan was a very good player 3 years ago. He was one of the most untouchable players just because he was so athletic and he could play great defense.
And he's an automatic double-double too.
Yeah, definitely. But really for the Nets, it's just this is literally like. People were flipping out about KD to the Warriors. Dude, this is the worst move in like NBA history. 3 guys going to the same team. Not like it was like, one was already there.
You're not saying it's a bad move for the Nets.
No.
Just for the league.
Like, I'm saying for, like, craziness-wise. Because people are losing him when LeBron went with Chris Bosh.
And D-Wade.
D-Wade was already there.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron going back to Cleveland.
Nobody was there.
Kyrie was already there. Kevin Love was technically acquired before he stepped foot on there, so I mean, kind of putting that on there. But also, of course, the Warriors, they drafted everybody. Mm-hmm. So, like, how are you going to say that the Warriors is the most unfair dynasty, but when 3 guys just straight up go to the same team in the same hour, that's just crazy. This is going to be so bad, like, for the NBA when KD comes back, because
it's going to be scary.
KD and Kyrie are going to kill it. I'm not a big Kyrie guy after what he did in Boston and just his attitude of wanting to leave the Cavaliers for no reason and then wanting to leave the Celtics for no reason. Oh, wait, it's because he couldn't lead them. That's right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
you couldn't have said it any better.
Literally, I used to love Kyrie, but it just, I don't know. Something about him definitely.
I'm about to burn that jersey. No, I can't burn that jersey.
You could.
I got like 4 of his shoes, too. It's like, oh, my God.
Oh, man.
But let's head over to the Knicks. And, everyone's
Zion, KD.
Kemba, Kyrie, everyone's clowning him, but I think they made some decent signings. And here are some of them. Julius Randle signing a 3-year, $63 million deal. Taj Gibson 2 years, $20 mil. Elfrid Payton 2 years, $16 mil. Wayne Ellington 2 years, $16 mil. Reggie Bullock 2 years, $21 mil, and Bobby Portis 2 years, $31 mil. And
Portis was a good move. Yeah. Ellington was a good move. Bullock. Payton, pretty much everything.
Taj Gibson
except
didn't make
Gibson.
any sense to me.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Everything except Gibson. But definitely Randle. I like Randle.
Definitely. And it's like, you didn't spend a huge amount of money on any of them. I mean, Julius Randle, but he deserves that type of money from anywhere.
Definitely
and, they're not long contracts. The longest contract is Randle's, and that's 3 years. And you still have some solid players. Of course, you
have RJ, too.
Drafted RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson.
Mitchell Robinson's great.
And if Kevin Knox can turn into something, he struggled last year.
Ntilikina, you hate him.
Because he's terrible. They've been trying
to trade him. He's literally 2 years in.
They've been trying to trade him since February.
Bro, he's solid.
And they never did.
He's solid.
All right, we'll have to wait and see with that. And,
give him 1 more year. If he plays awful, I'll text you and be like, all right, you're right, he's bad. But
all right, we'll see how that goes. I guess we can head over to Jimmy Butler, who was traded to the Heat in a 4-team deal. He ended up signing a 4-year, $142 million contract, and this is how it went down. So Myers Leonard went to the Heat. Josh Richardson went to the 76ers. Maurice Harkless and a future first-round pick to the Clippers. Mavericks get Derrick Jones and Kelly Olynyk, and the Blazers get Hassan Whiteside.
Now that trade is it took a day to finalize.
Yeah, it took a day, yeah.
It was crazy.
Because they had to figure out all those pieces.
So we'll talk about the three that matter the most. All right, I think that. All right, so in my opinion, of course, Jimmy going to the Heat is going to be big, but don't sleep on Richardson going to the Sixers because
now they have a real starting lineup.
My scenario that I put in is what makes me believe that this is going to be unstoppable, right? So you have Ben Simmons at your backcourt with Josh Richardson, right? Because he'll be running the two.
Yep.
And now Ben Simmons' lack of three is brought back by Josh Richardson. Because Richardson is an incredible three-point shooter. And he can play good defense. And overall, them right there, they'll be held out to their opposites, and it'll just really make some positivity. And, of course, Tobias Harris does his thing. And, of course, Horford's lack of, I guess you could say, strength is 100% brought back by Embiid on the defensive side. And, of course, rebound-wise, because I always clown Horford for not being able to get a rebound for his life in the paint, but...
On paper, that's one of the best starting fives.
I think that is the best starting lineup.
We don't know how it's going to work out.
That's what I said.
But
I was saying to my friend, I said that's the best starting five in the league.
That's scary right there. And perfect segue into Al Horford, who signed a 4-year, $109 million deal with Philadelphia. I guess I heard Boston offered him 4 years, $67 million deal, and I get it. Got to go to Philadelphia. There's a better chance of winning a championship there right now, but... That was just a good move by Al Horford.
I like it.
And I respect him for everything he did for Boston.
Of course, opting out of a $30 million though.
Yeah, because he would have been a free agent after the end of next season, but
he wanted out now. His dad was probably in control of that, he was when he wanted him to move out of Atlanta. Damn. Yeah. Now let's go to Boston, baby. All right, let's go to Philly. Dude, make up your mind.
A little salty, Ciro?
I'm a little salty, all right? Because you know what we got in replacement for Al Horford and Paul Millsap?
Who'd you get? I don't know who you got.
Dwight Howard.
Ooh, jeez.
I'm salty, dude. Just thinking about that.
That's tough. We'll head over to the next one, though. Jamal Murray signing a 5-year, $170 million contract extension with the Nuggets, and he had a breakout season last year.
Great.
Shooting the three ball very well, averaging 18, 4, and 4.
Yeah, I mean, Murray was somebody that definitely showed sparks of an all-star in him, really. He's so overlooked, too. People don't really talk about Murray like that. And, I think he definitely deserves some more attention. I don't think, he's a standout, superstar. But I think he'll be there. Don't forget, he's young and he has plenty of time to develop. And, of course, he's going to be...
only been in the league for, 2-3 years?
Yeah. So. 3. This will be his... Fourth? I think fourth, because I think he's the same class as Gary Harris. I'm pretty sure. So, but yeah, for that, I just think that was a good move. Of course, it's a lot of money. But do you know any details on Jokic's contract?
No, didn't he already sign the big contract?
Yeah.
What was that? It was
huge. It was really big.
But he definitely deserves it because he's winning MVP next year.
He's winning MVP. I'm just letting you know.
We got this. But heading over to some Warriors news, and a surprising trade here is the Warriors traded Andre Iguodala to the Grizzlies, and also good news for Golden State is they have Klay Thompson, the Warrior for life, signing a 5-year, $190 million deal. And I think he had surgery yesterday.
Yeah, it was successful.
And he's supposed to be out 5 to 7 months. That isn't really that bad.
Dude,
so that places him around...
Wait, 5 to 7 months from the start of the season?
For recovery time. So.
From now.
From now. So, you would think... if he comes back like that...
Alright, August.
January, February, March?
Dude, he'll be in before the playoffs. I was expecting him to come,
if he recovers
second round.
Obviously don't rush anything back, but...
No.
He could be back before the regular season ends.
Because when Boogie had his thing, it was kind of we'll tell you.
I can't believe he tore his quad and he came back in the finals.
And played pretty solid.
That's very impressive.
He was looking
I don't even care if he played bad. That's impressive that he can come back.
He didn't play too bad, though, in the finals. For what he played.
He had 1 or 2 decent games.
Yeah, but he only played, minutes in those 2 games.
And he did step up after Kevin Durant tore his Achilles.
Yeah, he was...
Cousins went on a tear.
Bro, he was in the paint just biting everybody. It looked like he had, game sliders on for one point. But
right.
I do definitely respect Klay. Klay is in my top 5 favorite players. I love watching Klay Thompson. I think that he's something else. And, of course, if he doesn't have your respect after what he did in Game 6, then you're just
It's pretty
stupid.
Amazing. And some more Warriors news right now. D'Angelo Russell. This was one of the most surprising signings for me. He signed a 4-year, $117 million deal, but they're saying that he's going to get traded.
Yeah.
So who knows if he'll even be able to play with the Warriors. I just don't see him fitting in that system with the Warriors because he's more of a pick and roll guy.
And plus he's going to be playing the 2, and then Klay's going to have to play the 3, so they need to get a 3.
Because I guess they do need scoring with Klay Thompson out because he averages 18, 20 points per game, so they need another
Maybe
scorer.
They can make a trade for like DeMar or something.
We'll see.
Something that could get them a
solid. It's kind of strange
3.
to me still.
Like, I don't know how that's going to fit. I would like to see it a lot. Just to see Splash, the brothers,
to see.
like with 3, all of them can drain it.
They all can shoot threes, yeah.
Of course, D'Angelo's going to be the worst.
But going back to some Celtics news here. Enes Kanter signing a 2-year, $10 million deal with the Celtics, and I understand he's not a good defender at all. He cannot.
I'm joking with you.
But
he's a solid scorer.
Offensively, he's an automatic double-double.
Yeah.
He's another one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a really solid pickup. We re-signed Daniel Tice to a 2-year, $10 million deal. We got Brad Wanamaker, a third-string.
Wanamaker, like, I don't know.
He can shoot threes.
He's wearing 9, though.
He plays garbage minutes, but he gets buckets. And then we got this guy, Vincent.
Who let him wear 9, though? Come on now. You're trying to be Rondo. Stupid.
Rondo's trash anyway. Vincent, what?
Alright.
Why is he with the Lakers? Vincent Poirier signing a 2-year deal with the Celtics. Now he's 25 years old, 6'11", so we need the size. He's played 5 seasons overseas, 3 years in France and 2 years in the Spanish League. So I think that was a good pickup for Boston. And there was some free agent signings last night. Jeff Green signing a 1-year, $2.5 million deal with the Jazz.
I mean, that's really solid for them. The Jazz are adding more depth.
Because if it doesn't work, then it's okay. You only spent $2.5 million.
Exactly.
He's done a solid job with every team he's played on.
Which
Willie
is almost
CauleyStein.
every team in the league.
Yeah, what has he played with?
He's played with the Celtics, the
Thunder,
Wizards,
Magic.
Magic, yeah.
The list goes on and on, doesn't it?
We're missing a big one.
We are missing a big one.
We definitely are.
Yeah, we'll get to
it. If it comes to on, did he play for the Clippers?
No.
Didn't he play for the Clippers when Pierce was there?
No.
No?
I don't think so. All right, let's
get
into it. Another thing that happened last night, Willie CauleyStein signing a deal with the Warriors, and you really like this signing.
I really like this signing. I think that, with the Warriors, most likely, because they're going to lose Boogie, you think, right? So, of course, Green's defense and CauleyStein's defense.
And they picked up Kevon Looney.
Yeah. They re-signed him. I didn't expect that.
$50 million.
Because wasn't there speculations, or was it Jordan Bell? One of them was leaving.
Well, Jordan Bell's with the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
But then there was speculation.
Not Jordan. I meant I'll get.
Yeah, but Jordan Bell went to the Timberwolves on a 1-year deal. Okay. But then there was speculation that Looney might go to the Celtics actually, because of course Boston needs.
That's right. It was Jordan Bell that I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. That one of them, I got the Shams tweet that he was expected to go to T-Wolves.
And now there's still some guys left out there. There's one really important guy, and that is Kawhi Leonard. Well, he's an important guy, I guess. But I mean, Kawhi Leonard, of course, they said the meetings with the Lakers and the Clippers ended, and then he had a meeting with the Raptors last night, and that ended, so who knows?
Just you were supposed to tell us on June 30th.
And I guess he's not even supposed to make a decision, they said after Thursday or something. So I'm like,
well, because I remember KD did it on the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you ruin my day? Why would you ruin one of my favorite holidays?
Just to go to the Warriors like that. It's
crazy.
That's crazy. But Danny Green, I guess supposedly he's waiting for Kawhi's decision, but there's been other teams.
What a writer!
There's been other teams interested in him though. The Lakers and the Mavericks. The Mavericks have also been interested in Marcus Morris. Both of the Morris twins have not been signed yet.
Which you guys should have definitely.
And I think Marcus has been better than Markieff the past couple of seasons.
Oh, easily. Marcus played great for you guys.
Playing better.
He played great.
And I don't think we have enough money to get him back, unfortunately.
No.
I love it. He was a solid player. He was
very good. That was your guy.
Yeah,
that was your background for a while.
I couldn't even buy his jersey. Come on.
Yo, how do you think I feel when I bought my Jordy jersey a month before he went to the Raiders? That was the worst feeling.
Yikes. We won't talk about that. It's NBA now. And maybe some Lakers news here. Rajon Rondo, Lance Stevenson, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope are all free agents. So we'll see if the Lakers
KCP's
sign
a rich
back.
Paul, so I'm expecting him to stay with them.
And they said the Lakers expect to bring Stevenson and Rondo back. So we'll see how that goes. They also signed Jared Dudley to a 1-year deal.
Tim Duncan?
Yep. Now the Lakers' problems are solved. They don't need Kawhi Leonard anymore.
Yeah, no, they got Tim Duncan.
And
did you see what Jared Dudley did to his profile pic?
Yeah, he has, what is it? It's LeBron and then AD,
and then him. Yeah, it's so funny. Well,
and that
wraps it up for this episode. We talked a lot, but of course we missed a lot. So you got your bang for the buck on the episode, and we talked about free agency as of now, the draft, and we'll get into our predictions later. So this is Straight Facts, Rich and Ciro. I'll take you up.